Welcome to the UDP Broadcast, a podcast where a group of friends get together and talk about gaming-related topics and offer both informed and uninformed opinions. I'm Luminary Weekly, and I'm accompanied today by my hosts, the Nordic Cajun,
Hello.
the Eternal Barcode Aimee.
Wrong button.
Wrong button has been pressed.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Hi, my name is Amy. I hope we have a fun episode tonight, and I hope everyone enjoys it. Enjoy my angry barcode noises.
I like how he was translating himself as he was making the noises.
All I need is the
Absolutely.
subtitles with 10010010001.
Perfect.
There we go. And from the Emerald Dream, Reina the Crit Chicken.
Oh, geez, that doesn't sound right. Hey, how's it going?
It doesn't sound right. Am I doing it wrong?
No, you're good. You're good.
Oh, okay.
You're good. It just, chickens don't have a good ring with the name Rena. No, that's right.
I have been
I'm
saying
lost.
that for like 7 to 8 months now.
For real, that has literally been his moniker for you since like day one.
Words have been said. I am very confused.
The chicken of the Emerald Dream block.
Okay. Reina, the chicken from the Emerald Dream. We can do. Okay, well, we'll adjust that moving forward.
No, it's
Tonight-
okay.
Oh, okay.
Now that she's fucked you up, it's okay.
Yeah, tangential.
Confused.
All right, so tonight we're talking about termination, labels, and frogs. So sit back and enjoy the show. But before the show starts, we do have a few announcements.
Woo!
Yes.
Yes. So,
Much
if,
excite.
if you haven't noticed, I have actually been rolling mid-rolls, and there are no more pre-rolls whenever it comes to entering my podcast. I say my podcast, it's really our podcast. We kind of built this together. Nordic had actually made the things like I went all Nick Fury and got my Nerdvengers and brought them together. And
That's right. We built this city.
so it's our podcast. I mean, I think I say my because I take a lot of ownership over it, but it's really ours. We make the decisions together, and this is what's going on. So we made the decision to go ahead and do mid-rolls, and I double them up before we actually come on the show, so that way it eliminates pre-rolls. And for those that join early, and moving forward for anything that I do on any of the brands for Luminary Weekly or UDP Broadcast, all revenue generated, that's subs, cheers, ad revenue, Patreon, the whole thing, 10% of all revenue attained across all channels will go to the Trevor Project.
Woo! Woo!
So,
Yay!
No, do it now.
Do it! Do it now! Do it!
No.
I've been waiting to announce this forever because I needed to make sure I got permission to actually use their statement. So, but it was important to me because I would like to describe their organization in their words. The Trevor Project is the leading organization working to end LGBTQ youth suicide in the U.S. and beyond. The nonprofit operates several programs to help prevent and respond to the public health crisis of LGBTQ youth suicide, including 24/7 free crisis services, research, advocacy, education, and peer support. So, while being inconvenienced, you are doing a great thing.
And
You are giving money to charity.
Yes.
That's
and
right.
just
It's passive, too. You don't have to lift your finger.
everything going down in this great world of ours. Anything we can do to help, even in the smallest bit, we want to do it. With gusto.
Hell yes.
Absolutely. This is a hobby podcast. We do this for fun. So, we're not in it for the money.
One
And
for the money, two for the show.
but it's what we can do, and that's what we're going to do. So let's move on to the show. Is there anything else we need to announce?
I think that was the big one. Other than I am drinking a rum and coke, and I'll probably run away to get a refill because my Kraken attack is over, and I have to go slay another Kraken.
Yeah.
Kraken attack.
Yeah, I'm drinking Kraken rum.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were like playing some game or something. Like,
Call my boy Davy Jones over here. Killing
I have been
Kraken.
playing Kerbal Space Program, and when your crafts sort of just randomly start vibrating and rip themselves apart in space, That's usually referred to as a Kraken attack because, Kraken, Space Kraken.
Ah, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's always fun when that happens.
But if you're too much going into it, I guess it would be like a Kraken addict. Right.
And drink.
Yeah.
taking a drink. All right.
I'm sipping on. I found this at the store after our little trek. It is a pineapple mandarin Mike's Hard Lemonade. It is
Ooh.
delicious.
That sounds diabetes inducing.
Oh, it is, and this is probably the last one I get to drink over the next month, but I'll explain that in the roundtable session.
Okay, that works for me. So, termination. This week, I don't think I've ever seen so many articles regarding staff being laid off, staff being fired, and just random investigations into staff misconduct than any other week that I've actually been doing this.
No kidding. It's like a memo got passed around and everybody just jumped on board.
No doubt. So we'll just go down the list. So Nordic Games.
No association.
Nordic Games asked the firm Gender Balance to start an investigation on allegations of misconduct in April of 2022. And article came out exactly what this investigation had produced. So it seems to all revolve around two males, which is interestingly targeted. And I'm not saying that in a positive or negative connotation. It's just like, okay, so this whole investigation was spawned around two people. But labeling them M1 and M2, I'll get M2 out of the way. Whatever was alleged against M2 was not corroborated and happened many years ago, and nobody seems to remember clearly. And of course, when asked, denied it. It's just, no, I didn't do any of that. However, M1, that guy.
This guy.
Dude. It's not fucking hard to not be creepy and not be a complete asshole.
Well,
It's not. It's literally.
So-
it is free. It is free to be a good person.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyways, we'll let you continue first before we start railing on this guy.
no doubt. So the firm, I'm just going to read the bullet points that they provided as far as the summary of their investigation. I've got some other notes here, but it's not really all that important yet. So we'll just start with the first bullet point and I'll work my way down. 5 allegations of sexual misconduct against Man 1, or M1, have been corroborated. The misconduct has been both physical and verbal. Most victims have been in a position of personal or professional dependencies to M1. There are an additional 2 uncorroborated claims against M1. So there were 5 and 3. No, was there a total of 8? We know 5 came through, 3 did not. So at least 3 of the confirmed instances of misconduct by M1 have likely amounted to sexual harassment in violation of Chapter 2, Section 2 of the Discrimination Act in Sweden. The remaining 2 instances likely fall outside the purview of the Discrimination Act. So that's 5 confirmed and 2 unconfirmed. Okay, so all
That would
victims
be
are women.
7.
Yeah, it's all over. The article was all over the place. I actually had to go to the actual PDF where Gender Balance had actually written all this. So I don't know why my notes are all messed up. Maybe because I did it, I don't know, 30 minutes before the show. Who knows? So
I mean, we don't do things last minute.
At all. No.
Oh, no,
What
it's
are you
all
talking
professional.
about?
No, I've got my writers that do this for me. I'm gonna have to get with them.
Yeah, about that. As he takes another drink from his rum and coke. Writer. What?
Let's see here. There have been gosh darn it.
Sorry, I'll tell the gerbils to work harder.
Yes, please. They're in my head right now, and they're like, "Oh, you want to read, huh?" No. So there's been a culture of Nordic Games ranging from informal and friendly to unprofessional and inappropriate. The negative culture there was created by M1 due to his conduct. And let's see here. Anything
Complete
else here?
piece of trash.
Yeah, pretty much.
When really, it's not hard to not be a piece of trash.
But I do it every day.
I know.
Wait,
It's like it's easy and free to not be a piece of shit.
There's some of these guys that like you just give them a little bit of ego, just a little bit of power, and they whip that thing out. That's a pun to everybody that walks by them. Hey, Crit's not the only one. I got some in the tank. And
Oh, hey, my ego gets to the point where, if I see something not right on the job, I tell my manager, my direct manager, if he doesn't listen to me and he doesn't take charge, I take it to the next person above that. And if the senior management doesn't do anything, guess what? I'm going all the way to the top. So if you ever find yourself in a position, especially in a quid pro quo position with some little loser, like some kind of like franchisee or whatever that thinks he's all haughty toddy because he got you the job or whatever, if you don't like it, bring it up with the CEO. Take it to the top.
allow me to pull out my fuck around and find out chart.
Hey, because of what I did, I have a lot of people on final notices. So
Ooh,
got to do what you got to do.
Well, yeah, no.
That's what I like to hear. That's awesome.
It's-
Get it,
People
girl.
aren't going. Sorry, go ahead.
I said it's interesting the culture shift because I'm old. I'm not as old as Jaime, but I'm old enough to remember like Johnny Carson still being alive. So
Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those are the days.
Yeah, and it was still shifting out of a sexist nature of perception of what women are at that particular point to what we've got now, where we have more of an equal balance as far as respect and engagement and things like that. But some of this culture that still comes through, even in 2020, is the leftover remnants of the adults that grew up during that period and never changed and kept that view. And they believe that type of engagement is what is appropriate because nobody's ever questioned them and it's always been okay for them.
And I have a really cool story about that. It's not about me, about my old boss. Let me put that out there first. I used to work with a really old man. Like I'm talking like 72 years old. He was attempting to get into the internet business after being in the real estate business, which never ends well with these old guys.
God
And,
damn it.
and after I passed, like split ways with him because at one point I literally was his only employee doing the job of 12, getting paid for half a job. He had to find out how to go make money and keep his business afloat. And he always talked about how he knew these high ups in some of these oil industries or these automotive industries, or he can go walk into any CEO room and get money, which he never did in the 5 years that I worked with him. Not once. But after I left and he had nothing else to use, he's like, okay, maybe I can actually put my money where my mouth is and go get this cash from this apparent CEO that he's best buds with. This is going to make sense in a second here. He goes to this meeting, and you have the owner of the company and his CEO, which is of feminine background. And he walks in, he shakes the hand of the owner. He turns to the CEO, shakes her hand, and I wish this part I'm about to say is made up, but this is the lion, the witch, and the audacity of this bitch. He shakes her hand. He says, "Wow, you should really wear more makeup."
Holy fuck balls.
Immediately was escorted out of the boardroom, and as you can imagine, that never took place ever again. Like that's as
You terminate people for that shit. Holy fuck.
and it's just that's the mindset of a lot of these people. They think they can walk in there and say whatever they want, do whatever they want to whomever they want to, and there's not going to be anybody like Raina who's going to kick him in the nuts all the way up the pole to the CEO. just, and this is a lot more common than you think. Obviously, with the topic at hand, with this, we're going to keep calling them M1, I guess. And there has to be a line that has to be drawn. But every time there's a line drawn legally, they kind of pull it back and say, "Hey, we're gonna just not say anything. We're gonna push you under the rug." And
You know the easiest way to deal with that shit?
what is that?
When you hear it, you harp on the people above that person to fire that ass. Because policies, and this is something I've learned from the IT security industry, is policies, rules, and regulations, all that shit are all recommendations until you're willing to fire someone. If you're not willing to fire someone over breaching, respectful workplace rules or regulations or whatever policy, it's a recommendation. So if someone's breaching it that badly, and I would qualify as looking at someone and be like, "Hey, you need to wear more makeup. Get the fuck out of my business.
Mm-hmm.
You do not need to be employed here."
Honestly, though, and I'll go into what I pretty much heard from a garage. I work also part-time at an auto parts place, so I make frequent trips to garages to drop off parts and whatnot to maintain the ongoing community. One of the ladies there said, "I don't think the people that you work with properly respect you, so whatever you do in your life past this point, know your worth," or whatever. So I've been looking into higher callings, like going back to school or something. But honestly, as I'm looking at both of the scenarios, like if like it took me a while to actually climb up the ladder to get to the head boss or whatever, to talk to him and to actually doing a head audit. And honestly, I'm glad that he actually interjected and started doing those audits, because you realize, honestly, I recommend, if you have a job, or at least a boss that's ahead of the building that you're working for, that's not willing to stand up for you and protect you as a person, then probably your best bet is to find something that's better for you in the long run, because that's just torture otherwise.
Because at the end of the day, it's not about money; it's about your mental health and your safety.
Yes. And my problem with that is all of us are pretty much in a very, very lucky position where money is not really the issue. My big problem is where you have people who are in a job where they're being abused, harassed, or whatever else, and their options are that shitty ass job where they're being abused and harassed, or homelessness, or going hungry. Those employers are the ones I want to clamp down the hardest, because those people are suffering the most and they have no recourse. Unions, what? Unions.
We'll get to that. We'll get to it.
Union sense is tingling.
Fuck.
So before we move on to that part, let me go ahead. And this was, I pasted it inside of our host chat here. And I do kind of want to read it off before we moved on to the Blizzard conversation. It says
Fucking
that
Blizzard.
the assessment of the organizational and other section, part of this PDF that came through, it says there are some organizational lessons to be learned. Several people have testified to a culture at Nordic Games ranging from informal and friendly in a positive sense to unprofessional and inappropriate. This culture centered around M1 and M2, who, by all accounts, were good friends. The work could often lack structure in a general sense and frequently include heavy partying in conjunction with conferences or business trips. This created a high dependency for some of the victims on M1, which clearly M1 exploited. There's no indication that M2 has exploited this culture in a similar sense. We've already explained that. After that, it's all about steps that Nordic Games should absolutely take in order to prevent this. So,
don't hire assholes.
Yeah, well, as I honestly think that the culture of identifying unconscious bias, sensitivity training, just understanding the world that we live in now through a corporate environment. I think that's probably some of the most important steps that companies take. I know that my employer does that. I don't know if your employer does that, Jaime, or if your employer does that, Nordic or Chicken. So But it's absolutely important. It has to be brought to light. Rules of the conduct has to be reminded because we're still in a post-sexist era, and it's slowly dying out, and people are calling more and more attention to it. And it is very important that we all pay attention and call it out as we see it.
I
Well,
call it
absolutely.
stupidity regularly because thankfully I haven't witnessed much sexism. I witnessed it once at the previous employer I had, and I was having absolutely none of it and told off the guy on the other end of the phone. Actually, you know what, fuck it, I'll tell you that story. So I was working one day with a woman. She and I were just hanging out in the shop waiting for stuff to break. And this guy calls from another site. He's got some, very specific problem, which she knew the answer to. And I was just brand new to the area. So I was like, I don't fucking know. And so she gives him the answer and what he had to get done. And, he seemed really dismissive and hangs up, whatever. And she kind of looks at me and she's like, so do you know this person? And I had worked with him previously. I'm like, oh yeah, I know that asshole. I mean, what? And she's like, is he normally sexist? I'm like, uh-huh. Go on. And so she told me what he'd said over the phone. Basically, he wanted, as soon as she, said she could help him, he was like, is there someone else I could talk to? Was his first fucking response. I was like, oh, we're going to have one of those days, are we? So she tells me this. I'm like, okay, if he calls back, let me know. I will absolutely fucking school him because this is bullshit. So he calls back like, I don't know, about 2 hours later. Didn't do what he was told to do. He had called back 2 hours later hoping that she was not around and that he could talk to someone who wasn't her. Basically meaning he wanted to talk to a guy and not a woman. So he calls back and he's like, oh, it's still not working. And I'm like, did you do what she told you to do? Well, do what she told you to do because she knows what she's talking about, and then call us back if you still have a problem, in which case she'll be happy to help you. By the way, it's me, and I'm having none of this bullshit today. As soon as I told him who, because he didn't quite recognize my voice, but as soon as I said it was me, he was just like, okay. It's like, yeah, fuck you. And the horse you rode in on. Don't give me that bullshit.
Oh shit, it's the barcode. God damn it, I can't win. Fuck.
Yeah, like, fuck you. Don't treat my coworkers like shit just because you're a pile of hammers.
Pile of hair.
Pile of hammers? Wait, what?
I have never heard that before.
Okay.
That's a new one. You have to explain that one, Almighty.
Bag of hammers, pile of hammers. Those are things I picked up when I was in the military for a little bit. I was an Army reservist for a little while. I ate crayons because I was an infantry officer.
Eight crayon. I've heard of that one.
Yes, because infantry eats crayons because me am smart. But
That's what I think about when I hear about barbarians playing in D&D, so I understand that reference completely.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was just it's just a term I picked up because that describes someone who is particularly dense.
Oh, you mean like as sharp as mud?
Oh yeah, and the brightest light bulb in the crayon box.
As useful as a one-man rock fight.
My brain is breaking.
Exactly.
Stop it. Wow, it's like
Oh, I have way more insults, like especially when it comes to people's ability to work with different levels of supervision. But if I go into that, I absolutely will end up doxing myself, so I'm not going to go into those.
fair enough. In that case, let's talk about the Communication Workers of America directly suing CEO of Activision
yes.
Blizzard, Bobby Kotick.
Fuck you, Bobby.
Yeah.
Just open with that.
What about Bob?
Nobody
Go
cares
fuck-
about Bob.
Thank you.
So
Nobody does.
CWA is directly suing Bobby Kotick for the company violating the law when it fired 2 QA workers last February. So this is a year in the making, right? So the thing is that Activision Blizzard has decided that everybody should return back to work. You've probably seen it in the news the last 2 or 3 weeks or so. Yeah. So actually, this is last February. It's last month. Apparently my brain is in the DeLorean. So
You need to have a nap before you do these things.
Actually, so actually, I had about 4 shots with the wife before I started doing this, and we do this with 1800 coconut tequila. Some of
That sounds
the
amazing.
key lime juice. It comes in a little yellow bottle. I can't remember the name of the brand, but it's in a yellow bottle, and lime Topo Chico.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Nice.
so it's nice and sparkly, and it's smooth, and you can just it's like vitamins. It's really cool, except it fucks you up. So. But
Yay.
it's really good. Like if I ever come to Canada or Louisiana or if we're ever all in the same spot, I will introduce you to the wonders that is exactly that drink.
Yeah.
So
And in turn, I'll make a crazy bitch.
a crazy bitch. I
Feels
Yeah.
so good. I'm on top of it.
could just bring
No,
my
like-
wife.
No, it's
Damn.
hey, there's nothing wrong with crazy chicks, okay?
I know. I married her. I love her. She's great.
But I think it's 2 shots hypnotic, 2 shots black cherry, rum, a little bit of cranberry juice, some pineapple juice, and some Sprite.
You had your boy a hypnotic. Done
And
deal.
that's a crazy bitch, but typically I'll still call it the mana potion.
I like
Nice.
that better. Yes.
You know what? I'm down for mana potion. So these QA testers, along with a bunch of other folks who were not exactly happy at the announcement of, hey, we need you to come back to the office because in a post-COVID world, all the jobs that we were told that couldn't be done from home, all of a sudden were done from home.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's almost like we've been discriminating against people for the sake of discriminating.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
maybe some businesses are justifying the use of the buildings that they're renting and whatnot. Honestly, I think that there should be just an infrastructure building where physical people had to go in and deal with hardware and let the office workers office work from their home and be with their families. I can't tell you how beneficial it's been for my kids just being at home. Right?
No,
So-
I can imagine.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Honestly, why didn't they just expand on like the college-based stuff for Blizzard and just have it as a learning studio and just keep the people, the QA people and everybody working from home and just expand, the workforce and the people that actually liked living in the quote-unquote dorm life of Blizzard or whatever, just stay there, and cycle out people as, but I don't know.
Because common sense is a superpower.
So one thing I learned from the army is that common sense is like deodorant. Those who need it don't use it.
I like that one. I like that one a lot. Now, because let's be fair, there are some jobs that you have no choice. You have to go to the office or to the place of work. Medical
Yes.
field, you have no choice. Unless you work in IT, you can still do it from home unless you have to go in there and physically remove the computer and put a new one in. Medical
Yep.
field, you're screwed. You got to go there. You got to work with patients. You got to work in the lab. Case in point, got to do it.
I don't know if they gave you an allowance to put an addition onto your house for a clean room and everything else, or they'll just mail samples to you, or they just deliver it to your house, and you can just get
I mean, in
results.
some-
There's so many things wrong with that, Lumi.
No, but in some cases,
HIPAA would be all over their ass.
in some cases, it's not even necessary. I've seen doctors working from home through telehealth.
That's different. Just doctor to patient face to face. Yes, you can do that on telehealth all day long. But I'm talking about like what I do.
Operations and stuff like that. Yeah,
Operations, drawing blood, running tests in the lab.
Can you
Can't do
imagine
that.
trying to
remotely.
draw blood remotely? That'd be one hell of a long ass needle.
Ooh, I've got Photoshop. I
no,
can probably draw
just use
some
a
blood.
robot.
Yeah, like just don't move. The robot will be jittery at first. Just don't move.
Yeah. It'll be jittery, but eventually it'll get in there. It might collapse a couple veins, but you're fine.
I promise it's only going to hurt for the first week. But anyway, there's going to be there's jobs like that you have to be there with hands on.
Yes,
a lot
absolutely.
of these jobs is like with Activision. For most of the stuff, a lot of people can get away with it with just a decent Alienware laptop from home, sitting there and doing what they need to do. You don't need to have people in the office so you can look over their shoulder. I'm looking at the other old 72-year-old man again, because that was another issue with him, but not going back with him, not giving it any more time. I don't have PTSD with this guy. No. It's about control. It's 100% about control
100%.
and them
Yeah.
being able to breathe down your neck for deadlines and all this bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah, and if
Because
you're not in the office, you're not able to steal breast milk.
Oh yeah.
stairs in fucking.
What?
So that happened at Blizzard. People were stealing. So they have a pumping room in Blizzard HQ, and guys were going in there and stealing breast milk.
Insert GIF of Homelander here. Jesus fuck. Okay. Anyway, so at this announcement, let's go ahead and push this forward because I've got one more of these to do, and I've got Imy's fantastic tweet that I want him to talk about. So,
Oh no, I should probably pull it up because I don't remember what it was.
7% is all you need to know.
All right.
Yeah, so.
I remember now.
There you go. You posted it in the forum. So, which, by the way, join the Discord. We have all kinds of cool stuff. So, two of these QA testers were very vocal in a very vulgar manner, and they protested using strong language. And apparently, this strong language was enough for Activision Blizzard to go, you two, you absolutely shouldn't work here anymore. And that's where CWA is having a problem because it was workers getting together protesting the actions of their employer saying, hey, you can't do this. And they said some mean things. And they're being terminated. So what was the words that they used? It was about union activities, which is effectively what that was, and not the curse words, right? And mind you, this is coming from the same company with a CEO that threatened their secretary, or threatened some woman death. I forgot which one it was. It doesn't really matter.
The fuck?
Yeah, no, like it was in a voicemail too. It was blasted all over the internet like a couple years back. But yeah, like Kodak's not good people. So yeah, like
Well, I know he needs to go examine the inside of a wood chipper. I
close-
didn't say he
depth.
needs to have it turned on. I said he needs to go examine one from the inside.
absolutely.
Well, somebody's on the
advocating
outside.
For legal purposes, that is a joke, and it is sarcastic for all legal purposes.
Either way,
Anyways,
That could be his new work from home job.
he can work over there and over there and over there and up there.
just spread them all over the place. I mean, it's hard to be in more than one place at once. This is your solution.
People do
Absolutely.
need fertilizer.
So CWA alleges that firing actually happened in response to employees' engagements in protecting concerted union activity, which is effectively what that is. And they've been trying to build a union in the different Blizzard studios across everywhere. So,
Yes.
and Blizzard lately has been making some interesting decisions for whatever reason, and I can't further speak on that. I just know they've been in the news, and my eyes have been crossed every step of the way. But moving on from crazy, powerful, crappy decision making, we've got EA firing an entire studio in Louisiana, I believe is what it is. The folks,
My hometown.
yeah, your hometown. It was a bunch of QA testers that were contracted through Magnet Global, and they handled all of the QA testing for Apex Legends. So they get this.
Rip Apex.
So they
Apex is a think Fortnite, but with futuristic Halo integrations. You get a team of 3, you go in there, and the last team standing wins, basically.
So is it kind of like Borderlands meets Fortnite?
That's the word I was looking for, yes.
Border
Borderlands
Knight. There we go.
Yeah.
Borderlands. There we go. Forterlands. Yeah, that needs to happen.
Borderlands, I like that one.
Yeah, like if
Sure.
if Fortnite ever does a Borderlands crossover, that needs to happen.
Oh, God. You
Yeah.
got to get Nine Toes in there. That'd be hilarious. Yes,
Or
3 balls as well.
Moxie.
So,
Yes, Moxie.
Oh, Moxie, baby.
let me paint the picture for you. You get a memo, you get an email, you get whatever, and it says, "Hey, we've got this Zoom meeting. We need you to join. Please join any way you can on your phone, on your PC, whatever it is. You just need to join this meeting." And you join this meeting, and you find out that you no longer have a job.
Oh,
Fuck
damn.
that.
What?
200 people got that email. 200 people all got canned, and they were given a 60-day severance package, which didn't cover to the end of their contract. And contract work is interesting, by the way. If you've never done it, it's interesting.
Fuck that shit.
Right. So what makes this particular story interesting is the fact that it was all done, and the supervisors, the full-time employee supervisors, were not notified that this was going to happen. So they pretty much, the entire staff was walked out by security as they unloaded their desks.
That's
That
ridiculous.
is so cowardly.
And that's EA?
That's EA.
So that's just going to mean EA is going to probably go down the toilet if if people catch on to that and they're like, okay, there's no job security here. I'm not working for you. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Well, what they said was in response to this article, to what was it? I think I have it up. It was a PC Gamer, or was it GameIndustry.biz? Hold on. It was. Is this it? Nope. This is the next topic. Not Activision. EA does mass. Here we go. Kotaku. Kotaku was the first one that reported on it. Baton Rouge offices, by the way, Nordic.
That's
Yeah.
close to hometown.
So the actual quote from EA was, let's see here. They're effectively moving the testers to different countries, is what it is.
Outsourcing, got you.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
it's just-
finding the cheapest labor they can abuse. Gotcha.
Well, yeah, Americans are expensive. Why would they want to pay us, a living wage in our own freaking country and pay someone else a living wage in theirs?
Because
Which
that
is
would
much
make
cheaper.
too much sense.
You probably got that COVID PPP thing.
Indeed. Okay, that's my
Sorry.
last one. Imee, let's talk about your 7%.
Because
Because
so I
I looked
tweeted
at
out
that and I was like, man, the audacity. Go for it.
the bastardy. So I tweeted out earlier, 14 hours ago, apparently. And I'll quote myself because I was pissed off. But first, I won't even go there. I'll start with this company. It's called Lemon.io. They are a freelance platform that does something with software development. They're basically contract service to help you do your startups. Great, fucking-tastic. That would be all kind of great and fun if your CEO, Alexander Volodarsky, fuck you, by the way.
That's a name.
Didn't tweet out the following. Today I had to lay off 10% of the company. Not because we had to cut costs. We actually grew 7% this month, and we will be profitable. Big but aggressive mode helped us see what brings us growth and what is not as effective, and to stay alive, we have to be laser focused. That is the most bullshit line I've ever heard for firing people. You grew 7%, and you're profitable, but you fucked 10% of your company. And that's almost exactly what my words were. See, and this is my favorite part. And I'll quote myself now. So you turned off comments and then said that even though you grew 7% and are profitable, fuck 10% of the company. Fuck you. I'll be adding you to the ever-growing list of fucking morons running a game company. I got that wrong. He wasn't a game company. It is a contracted DevOps, it looks like, company. But still, fuck you. You piece of shit.
Yeah,
And
because
I really wish I had that line from Glengarry Glen Ross with Al Pacino's fucking rant. Because that would be super appropriate right now.
That's the kind of situation where Lumi would enter my chat and hit the nani button.
well, it's like if you think that you're profitable, why don't you expand and just like keep the 10% and just have more towards your company?
Because that apparently is the American standard when it comes to corporations. Oh, we've had hand over fist of gobs of money, that we've had highest profits that we've had in years. But we're going to lay off 25% of our workforce because we can't afford them.
Yeah, justifying it like that doesn't make sense. It makes you look like an asshole. And I'm not okay with that. However, like, from a business perspective, you have to take a look at your workforce, see who's been performing, who hasn't, and either A, coach them, or B, if they've already been coached, start pushing them out the door, because you can get talent in to perform as you need, right? There's no sense in carrying around dead weight. But to say, hey, check this out, we've been profitable, and we're actually doing really well, so we laid off 10% of our workforce, doesn't make sense, and it doesn't make for good public appearance. It's just,
Well, it's like with my company. My company either wants the people in our quarters to either grow with the company by going to schooling or whatever, and they offer like $5,000 a year towards schooling or whatever,
hmm
that you could either be internal or use trades outside, like in like nursing or over the road trucking and stuff like that. So it's like when I heard that they laid off all these people, there was no, path to like make sure that they weren't in a or they were in a good spot to actually transition. So it might be profitable for them to like, boost their numbers, get, and then do a rug pull, but overall, yeah, they're fucking assholes.
Indeed.
Excuse my French.
No, that's
No.
fine. That's fine.
Yeah, have you heard how
Really?
much I swear
Have-
on this podcast?
Have you
French,
not heard
German?
me?
Wait a minute. Go ahead.
Someone
There was no
talk,
go
I
ahead.
don't-
We were agreeing with Crit. Like we all like fuck them bitches.
Yep.
Exactly.
You can't see it, but I'm giving you the middle finger as hard as I can. Yes.
Okay,
Exactly.
Moon and Knight.
You got the reference. That makes me so happy. Thank you. Well,
I really wish I could read this quote word for word from Ricky Roma, the character that Al Pacino played. But what I will tell you to do is look up the quote from Ricky Roma in Glengarry Glen Ross. Glengarry is one word, Glen Ross is two. You, Williamson, I'm talking to you, shithead. Go look up that line. Now imagine putting Alexander's name in there instead. And yes, that's how I feel about this guy.
there we
Because
go.
holy fuck, what a complete piece of shit this guy is.
Well, let's talk about a guy who's not a piece of shit, and that would be Naoki
You?
Yoshida.
Yoshi!
So, labels. This is an interesting titling choice because. So a little bit of backstory here. I have loved Final Fantasy for a very, very long time. I remember having my NES, and I remember going to Toys R Us and spending the $20 at that particular point on an NES cartridge to play the first Final Fantasy, and reading up on the history of Final Fantasy. That was literally the company's Hail Mary to save it. So.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if that didn't work? How things would be so different right now.
That game defined a generation, and it defined the players in it for those who really liked that style. And I played the crap out of it. It was really good. It was hard, rough around the edges, but we're not as connected as we are today. But he's also known as Yoshi-P. There is a YouTuber by the name of SkillUp that did an interview with him after he went to Japan, got to play test Final Fantasy 16, right? And was able to describe much of what he was able to do, and actually brought back a little bit of footage from his gameplay, along with providing the gameplay footage from Square Enix themselves, and was able to interview him. And of course, his first question is like, "Hey, what do you think modern JRPGs are lacking or are excelling at?" At which point, you know that sigh you get whenever you ask a wrong question to someone, like that
we
one.
hear from behind me every night.
Yes.
That one.
That's it. That's it. And he went on to explain that the term JRPG was let me see here.
Disrespectful
Well,
is what we saw, and it was a slur. Or
Yeah.
akin to a slur almost.
kind of.
Which is a stretch. I'm gonna go ahead and say that right now.
Well,
Go ahead, Lumi.
Let me jump in here real quick, because it wasn't necessarily a slur. It was more along the lines of the Western audience compartmentalizing Japanese developers into a box, right? And it seems derogatory, as if the Western audience was thinking of them as less of a RPG. Now, mind you, in modern times, it is still, and Yoshi-P acknowledges and said, modern times has more of a positive connotation, but there's still many Japanese game developers that have this old wound that gets opened up every once in a while if they're caught off guard. Because if you think about it, FromSoft made Elden Ring. That's not a JRPG. Nobody would ever classify it as a JRPG. And growing up, JRPG was just the thing you used to describe a type of game.
So I understand where that's somewhat coming from, because centuries ago, well, not centuries, about 30, 40, 50 years ago, somewhere in there, when JRPGs started becoming a thing, the animation, the animation and the art style was very new to Western people, and it was something they hadn't seen before. If you look at the facial structures, that's usually one of the biggest giveaways as to whether something is an anime style or a Western style animation is the eyes. The eyes are usually the biggest one to look at, and then the face, and then the overall expressions. And when you take 45 minutes to say one word, the fuck Dragon Ball Z. Anyways, everyone who likes Dragon Ball Z is now going to try and kill me.
On the last episode of the UDP broadcast, we have Aimee speaking
taking
out.
62 hours to say one word.
Or
it took an entire season for him to say
one fight.
It's not.
But that was the thing. Like it was so new, and it was very much like a very niche thing of sort of like, oh, you're just a weeb. You guys like those weird anime things. So it was very much. I did hear a lot of it, JRPG, used as a derogatory term to describe JRPGs, and now over the last about 15 to 20 years, I've heard the term change from something of like, ew, gross, to, oh shit, that's a JRPG. I'm really interested in playing that. So it's kind of like, it's like the word's been taken back from the idiots that first started using it. But I absolutely have heard it used as a derogatory slur.
I don't think I've ever heard it used as a derogatory slur. So
Me
it's
either.
kind of interesting.
It's so weird to even have that as a concept, because when you
So
think
I hung out with people who drank a lot, did not like anime. I just don't like it anyways. But if you didn't conform, you were absolutely going to be pointed out, and they would absolutely point out anyone who did not look like them and act like them, and cough, cough, idiots that I used to hang out with. They know who they are. They don't listen to this because this is too much. I'm okay with that. Fucking idiots.
Anyway, go ahead,
What?
Nordic.
Growing up, JRPG, I'm on board with. Let me say that was always just a category. It was a category of game because there was normal RPGs here in America, which sucked. Let's be frank. Most American-based RPGs at the back then sucked. I can even think of a RPG that was based in America, that was developed in America, that did well. But then Japan shows up, and let's be frank, Japan, when it comes to animation, storytelling, games, they've always had a one-up for a long time with America. That is just how it is. So when people will say JRPG, you paid attention because you know you were about to have a treat. You had your Final Fantasies, you had games
Skies of Arcadia, Sonic, freaking. You had the final, Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross. You had
even the lesser hits like J Cocoon and
Legends of Mana.
Yes, like those games just they're amazing. You eat them up all day long, and that's what they are. They are RPGs based in Japan, and the idea that any of them took that as an insult, I can't correlate that. I understand the correlation between calling somebody a weeb for enjoying it, because I got called that for a long time. I understand that concept. But for them who created these works of art, and that literally being the source of the game, I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my brain around it. Especially, I don't know. It just seems weird. I don't know.
Well, let's shift some gears, because this kind of draws a parallel with some of the other stuff that that you can explicitly define as Japanese versus Western. So, growing up as a kid, Saturday morning cartoons was a thing. Watching X-Men on Fox, things like that. But if you asked, what cartoon do you want to watch? Let's say here, you could watch the X-Men animated series, or you could watch Trigun. And watching Japanimation,
Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon, Speed Racer.
Card Captors.
Yeah, Card Captors. Pokemon is Japanese by, at its base.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there is a distinction of the type of thing you want to watch. And JRPGs has always been that to me. It's been like, okay, so I want this wildly epic story with anime type characters, because that's the art style that you get and the feelings that you get from it, even in the Final Fantasy series. Elden Ring, not so much, but I mean, it's a style. It's just like you have your folks who the different painting styles for the artists out there, right? You're a sketch artist. You're oil and paint. You're an oil and easel. I'm not an artist. I can't tell you. You're a digital artist. It doesn't matter. It's just
But
defining the genre, and I can see how that could be taken as derogatory, and I absolutely agree. But I never ever thought of it that way, and I'm old.
But it's like between the
Hold on,
two.
Nordic Chicken. You were going to say something?
yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think I had a deep connection with the culture and stuff like that, or at least with, the anime and the video games, because I thought that they put not only did they put a lot of attention and, love into the details, the ambience, the shadings and stuff like that. It felt like they put more heart into it, as you could see from like I was saying, Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger, um, Skies of Arcadia, even with Final Fantasy and Toho and stuff like that, you have like it's so very colorful and vibrant. Like even right now, I just bought the Okami game, so it's just like
Oh, is that the Magic Dog painting game?
y- yes, I just bought that on
I totally
Steam,
want
so
to
I'm
play
looking
that
into
game.
like
I never got into it, but I've always wanted to.
I think it's on sale right now, but it doesn't really cost much at the moment, and it's like 26 gigabytes. So I'm looking forward to sinking my teeth into it. But yeah, it's just you know I do have a deep appreciation for all the work that they actually put into it. I mean, look at like Final Fantasy Online. I mean, that's amazing
Hmm.
as well. I mean, I don't play a lot of it, but I mean, look at the fat cat mount. That by itself is so freaking cute.
Indeed. All right.
I I hope Yoshi knows how much love and affection his fans have for him.
I'm sure he does now, but back then it was like, what'd they call us? I mean, why are we distinct from the rest of it? I mean, mind you, using terms like ARPGs for the action RPGs and CRPGs and things like that is more common now, but it's the only one that is a explicit division between other RPGs by country. You don't see a French RPG. You don't see an English RPG.
It could have also been on Habit too, because I do have genres like J-rock or K-pop and stuff like that. So maybe it's just like something like that just slipped out without even thinking, like, oh well, it's a JRPG, because they kind of, or even with webtoons, they have or they have the mangas, they have fan made stuff as doujinshis, and they
Mhm.
have webtoons or manhwas or whatever. But it's just, I think, nobody really specifically calls them a comic, but
Yeah, comic manga. And that mangas are interesting because you have to read them backwards than what you're used to. So you have to start at the end of the book and work your way to the front, at least from Western standards, right? So you read from right to left as opposed to left to right. It's an interesting experience. I've always wanted to read a manga. I've seen people do it, and I'm like, I couldn't, because you read everything backwards to what you're used to.
you know what I really liked about the Japanese animation too, going through the years, even like 20 years ago or whatever,
Hmm.
they were definitely open to equality of genders, or if you're like trans and stuff like that. And if you actually, like, but if you came to America with that stuff, they kind of censored all that stuff. So there was more openness about that, which made me a little bit more open minded. And that's one of the reasons why I also respect the artists for that specific genre of animation, because they were, open, and they were, open minded.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that I it just you'll probably
I
Words
never
are
agree.
hear
hard.
it.
I
Yeah,
100% agree.
like it's had a big impact on my life, and honestly, I think the more cultured you are and the more exposure you have to the different things that are out there, the better a person, the more understanding you'll have moving forward. So that's just me. Gage, do you want to say anything finally on this before we move on to frogs?
I'm very excited for frogs.
I completely forgot what I was going to say, so move on to frogs.
I just didn't want Crit Chicken to miss what she was
Oh
going to
no,
say.
I'm glad you did because she had a lot of good points. My tired brain does not remember. Just go ahead.
Okay, so let's just go ahead and move on to frogs. Yoshi, thank you for calling that out, and I'll find a different way to describe JRPGs. I don't know how. It hasn't been established now that it's in good connotation, but
Just call it an RPG. That's it.
there we go. RPG. I would like to play an RPG that is from Japan.
One of the greatest of all times.
So, Frogs. Frogs was an interesting title choice because there was an interview done with Video Game Dunkey and his wife, Leah.
That's a name I haven't thought about in a long time. Video
So?
Game Dunkey.
Video Game Dunkey. I can shotgun you some YouTube links. He is probably the silliest YouTuber. I remember him hitting his milestones. He was doing a lot of League of Legends content, which is hilarious. About the same time that Nordic and I were doing League of Legends content with the Idris crew and whatnot.
I'm going to be honest. If it was not for Video Game Dunkey, I honestly believe League would not have gotten as big as it did.
Well, him and Cholera Ninja.
Yeah, but Dunkey was on a different level, dude. There's a reason why there were so many people who came out and everybody called them Dunkey clones because of the way he presented himself, like his humor. Are you familiar? With Larry the Cable Guy,
Yes.
Yeah, I've never watched it though.
a video game version of him
Okay.
is what I would make as how I would attribute to Dunkey because his humor is so crass and lowbrow, but at the same time it'll catch you out of left field. Just what he strings together in his sentences. He talks quick, and then the way he reacts, it was addicting.
It's quick, it's confident, and it will make you infuriated if you're one of those nerds. Like, imagine those nerds that call Samus Metroid or Link Zelda.
Right.
And he does it so confidently and so smoothly, it doesn't matter. But I remember watching him go up through the ranks and throwing his 1,000 subscriber party. Like, if you go far enough back in his YouTube roll, you'll see him sitting there doing the Numa Numa dance.
Oh my god!
In front of his computer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then there was one for 100,000, and it just went crazy from there. But he stopped doing League of Legends content and ended up making his own content. And it was really tongue-in-cheek video game reviews, which were absolutely fantastic. So go ahead, Nordic.
If you ever hear a streamer ever say the words "not even close, baby,"
not even close, baby.
He was the originator of that phrase. If you ever hear that again, that's where he came from. And it's you wouldn't think that'd be such an iconic phrase, but the way, like he said, the way he delivered himself was perfect. And yeah, he was big in getting League up there, but League didn't reciprocate at one time. And actually, I'll be honest, he was very toxic in the game. He did not hold back when people were being dumb, and towards what it is now, they really cracked down on what you said in chat, as in shit talking, and they banned his account, despite the fact that he did a lot of, I want to say, free publicity for them. To be honest, I don't think they ever threw him a dime in terms of what he did, but because of his content, he brought a lot of traffic to League. And he felt like that was like a betrayal to him because they would not unban his account. They would not do it.
It's called fucking around and finding out, though.
They unbanned one of the most toxic people on the planet, Tyler 1, but you can't unban a very fun-loving, charismatic guy like Dunkey. I just think that's favoritism.
That guy
probably
survived.
Didn't generate enough revenue.
Oh, this guy is ridiculous. But he he survived because I would consider him a second-gen YouTuber, and I believe that Nordic and I would actually fall in that category too. So they survived the great copyright strike Mageddon from for video games and things like that, and all the changes that came through before you got your third and fourth generation YouTubers that are out now making short form content and everything else. So he's been in the business for a while, and to survive this long is amazing. And he decided, and he announced it last year, that he was going to start his own video game studio, and he called it BigMode. Right? And nobody took him seriously.
Which is par for the course for Dunkey, to be completely honest. Nobody ever really took him seriously.
Right. Is this a joke? No, they both Leia and Jason, that's his name, started this company to help developers that with projects that they believe in and use their platform to promote and talk about the things that are going on, as well as push out the content that they create. So I think it's an interesting thing. And they've even, inside of this article, we're talking about, like, we're not just going to accept everything. It has to be a good fit. Every contract is different, and the needs are different. And if they don't align, we're not going to issue a contract, and we're not going to sign. And we wouldn't want them to sign under predatory practices. So they're really trying to make a fair deal. In fact, after all the shenanigans of, like, this can't be real, you can't do that, we're not taking you seriously, he ended up picking up a title which looked really good called Animal Well. And if you ever get a chance on Steam, go look up Animal Well. It is a ridiculous looking game. It's on my wish list, and if it's not on your wish list, you should.
Just a screenshot of like an acid trip, and I'm about it.
Oh no! Like whenever Dunkey was actually talking about this project that he's investing in as a publisher to this developer and providing the stuff that they need. The screenshots were amazing. That game has been in development since 2017. It's a custom engine developed by the developer. Like it's going to be good. It looks great. So, but I think it's interesting that this comes up, and there were some things in here in this interview. Let me see here. Nope, we're skipping past that. That I thought that should be talked about, and that is.
It's a Metroidvania style game that has me excited already.
Oh yeah, definitely. Where's that quote? Damn it! I didn't pull it out. Let's see here. One thing I'd like to mention is our desire to help incredible projects stand out. Something pretty common across all forms of entertainment and content is that because of the way people consume media and the insatiable demand for more, some great things can get lost in the churn. There's so much of everything all the time, so we feel having a way to stand out is more important than ever. And that's a really good strategy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Leia was asked what makes BigMode stand apart from the other publishers, and she responded, BigMode is the only publisher with Biggie the Frog.
I saw that.
So they also have Jason, and since a lot of people know his taste, it gives us a great starting point. We've got our own platforms and ability to put a big spotlight on things that we believe in. So one of the things that really struck with me here is that it says, an unfortunate reality of our position is that besides lots of amazing support and kindness, we're also used to people being extremely cruel to us online. So we do have thick skin for these things, though it's, of course, always disappointing to see classic gatekeeping or people being excessively negative without reason. Something we'd like people to understand is that, like anyone else, we're looking for good fits that make sense for us and the developers. We're not forcing anyone to work with us, and we wouldn't expect or be able to work with absolutely everybody. So they're making some really good decisions, and they're curating their projects really closely. So that's really nice.
Huh. Interesting.
I just love the fact that he's been, like Lemmy alluded to earlier, he was able to go through the trials and tribulations of early YouTube and now has morphed into his own gaming company. Like, if anybody was going to do it out of the old crews, it was going to be Dunkey, because when he put his mind to something, he did it. It doesn't matter what people said about him. Like, I'm going to do this, fuck you. And I like that about him.
If he's king of the hill now, though, does that mean he's Donkey King?
Yes.
And finish the drink.
I need a refill. I might have to run away for a minute.
All right,
Did
go for
I
it.
do that?
Anything else you want to talk about on this subject? I wanted to bring it up because I have a tremendous respect for Dunkey, and if he ever listens to this, bruh, well done.
Good job, Dunk.
Bruh.
Bruh.
Wait, I have a button for that.
There
There
it
we
is.
go.
I was like, wait a minute, I have that button.
All right. Let's go ahead and push to our round table. Cajun, what you got?
I have a bunch of stuff coming up here shortly. A little bit of it is just personal experience, but a little bit of it is actually back around to what we were talking about, doing just whatever you can to help. First and foremost, I am undergoing a new diet regimen for me. It is it's called the carnivore diet.
I've heard of that.
It's animal based product only, and is supposed to help with people with autoimmune disease like I have. I have psoriatic arthritis, and it's
Oof.
supposed to help with joint pain, inflammation, to just cleanse your body of all the processed shit that we Americans force feed ourselves every day. I'm starting. Yeah, burger. So in I'm doing the normal carnivore version. There's a hardcore version where you literally just do meat, butter, and water, and that's it. I'm not ready for that yet. I need a variety, so I'm just doing the animal based products that doesn't have like high sugars or high lactose and stuff like that. So I'm the beef, eggs, chicken, some cheeses because they're very low in lactose. And I found out I can actually use honey, which is going to help a lot for the sweet tooth because it's made by bees, animal based. So I'm going to be documenting it on my TikTok and on my Instagram and how my body reacts over the next 30 days of doing it and see if it's worth it or if it was all bro science.
Pro tip, honey is probably the best sweetener for a diabetic.
Oh, I agree, and I won't be able to do much of it. But if I ever do get to drink coffee, because it's not plant based, but I mean it is plant based, not animal based, honey will be my sweetener. So I have that going for me. I'm starting at Monday with a 24-hour just straight fast, just water only, just to get the body on reset mode, and then starting on the Tuesday, I'm going head over heels for meat, as it were. Don't look into that. Then along with our normal Tuesday and Thursdays streaming, I alluded to it to you guys in the Discord, but I actually went ahead and I'm gonna purchase some things. I am going to be doing some alternative makeup stylings for some future streams. As
Fantastic. I
as
will be there.
as some protest to certain states who are run by bigots and not leaders.
Just to interject here, you should totally do that with a certain suggested podcast.
Also, on the
Are we-
topic of the dieting and probably going back into my keto stuff, if you think carnivore is a little bit too hard or restrictive, try falling back on keto.
I've done keto before. I did keto. I want to say 8 years ago when I was fatty 2x4. I was in the 350-pound range. I dropped 70 pounds with keto. So the science behind that works. The carnivore diet is literally just getting rid of the last few carbs and all processed foods. So it's in the same realm. But I agree, keto is good if your body can handle it. I 100% agree with you with that.
And also make sure you're taking supplements to make up for the stuff that you are not getting from your plants, like the vitamins and whatnot. Because you might go into a deficiency and whatnot.
Oh yeah, I already take a whole bunch of supplements just because I lift on a normal basis. The only thing I needed extra was like magnesium and potassium.
Dost thou even lift, bro?
Dust.
Dost thou even lift?
Come at me, bro. 1 pound for pound. Let's go. Come on. Let's go.
Give me an M67 hand grenade, and then we'll go play. I'm qualified on the. Well, actually, no, my qualifications are gone, but I used to be qualified on that. They're very disappointing.
And Lumi, if you were alluding to showing it off on this podcast, I will be 100% down once I've mastered.
No. We've got the lubrication going for a a Raging Cajun podcast at some point. You and I
Oh,
seem to
that's
get
right.
together and talk about that.
Yes,
and you
we
know what?
do.
You want to do that in the style that you're talking about. I'll make sure to grow my beard out long.
So how much are you planning on losing, Nordic?
I didn't put a set number at first because I have been stuck at like 275 and 280 for the past probably about a year. But if I want to put a number out, I'm probably going to aim for about 15 pounds just so I can see the 260s again.
Hey, Lumi, can I suggest something for the Discord?
Sure.
Like a health and fitness channel, so we can have like a little segment of biggest losers and track or quote unquote be accountable.
I'm down with that. Because I actually already do that in another channel. There's a PNG, there's a VTuber. Her name is Hayachu. She's a friend and a friend of mine, and a friend of another streamer that I've been friends with for years. And I'm in their Discord, and they call me Dad because I'm in there in their fitness channel, and I'm just hyping them up, give them words of encouragement, and they're starting to put in their workout regimens, what they're eating, and all that good stuff. So it's empowering, and I agree with Chris. I think that'd be an awesome thing to do, especially since I know you've been vocal about it on your Twitter too, about what you've been going through.
Yeah,
So-
I've lost 10 pounds since February 25th.
That's awesome. Good job.
Awesome. You have the power to create channels in Discord. Just
Oh.
check with Amy. Yeah, no, like the hosts are pretty much have keys to the city mostly. Amy's the only one that has like almost all the keys, and I control the door. That's pretty much all there is to it.
I have the little plastic keys they give to the kids.
So if anything, if you want to put something under generally speaking for fitness, whether it's fitness burger or fitness time or whatever you want to talk about,
Borgor.
yes,
Crit Fit.
Yeah,
Name it Crit Fit.
Crit Fit. There we go. Crit Fit Adventure. No,
Let's do it.
yeah, just
Yeah,
drop,
we can do that.
yeah, drop
Crit
the
Fit
channel.
Cajun.
Amy will ensure the permissions are set, and you're good to go.
The Crit and Cajun connection.
Oh no, that sounds like a dating website. No, no.
My bad.
No.
Retract.
Okay, well, let's move on to
Awkward.
Crit. Oh wait, did
Sorry.
you have any more to say, Nordic? Because we've got the protest, we've got your diet, and we've got you talked about what else? What else?
The drag makeup.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
If they ever made a carnivore diet dating site, they could call it the meat market.
That actually, it's God.
Take another drink.
I'm out. I can't.
I have to go downstairs to my freezer and
Oh.
get my rum.
While you do that, Crit, what's going on with you over the next week?
Just working, and probably going through my Steam library because right now I'm protesting Blizzard for being dipshits. But yeah, I know I did my year of buying the subscription thing, but after I saw the bunny mount, I was so underwhelmed, and everything is overwhelming in the game as it is right now. And after what they're doing right now to their employees, I
canceled
Not-
my sub too. I'm like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah, I canceled mine just a couple days ago, actually.
and I'm still
Blizzard.
not subscribed. So yeah.
I reached the end of my $14 a month, and I'm good. Like that's. But anyway, keep going.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it. Got back into trying. I mean, I used to be 160 when I did the keto thing, got down to 160, got too cocky, went back up to 100 or 216. So I'm still on my way down to 150, and then probably try to go for close to 135 as I can. But honestly, I just want to prolong everything so I can be around longer for the podcast.
That makes me happy.
Mm-hmm. It's only a matter of time before the crit code becomes the ultimate beast. So
Absolutely.
I
Did
know
you-
that's all going to be messed up. But, I mean, not really messed up because last time I gained a lot of weight was when my son was pregnant. So that's
Your
also
son was
another thing.
pregnant, or you were pregnant with your
I heard
son?
that too.
I
didn't want to
was
say
pregnant
anything,
with
but I
my
heard
son.
that too.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's what
my
I thought you
brain.
meant.
My brain.
I thought I took a wrong turn at Reddit. That was crazy.
My brain. I'm sorry. No,
We're
I
all
was
there, girl.
pregnant with my son, And I think when me and Amy maybe one day have kids, I'm going to have to look forward to doing the same workout and diet regimens again to correct my gorging.
Well, whenever that happens, we'll
I mean,
be
if
here
you're
for
eating
you.
for two, you're eating for two. It's not that big a deal, but
Well,
yes.
Technically, you're eating for one. There was actually a study done on that, and you don't need much more than what you're already taking in because your body is already sharing its nutrients with it. So, I mean,
Parasite's going to parasite. Wait, what?
well, yeah, I mean, that's it. But
Technically, it is a parasite. It provides the host with no benefit.
It's
And
also,
yes, I did just...
I used to make fun of it, or pregnancy as, it's my only STD.
life is a terminal
Nice.
STD.
It is. Good God.
Speaking of STDs, Amy, what's going on?
Oh,
I couldn't find a different way to segue into it. Sorry.
that's... Oh, that hurts.
That's a oof.
That is a huge oof. I don't even know how to respond to that other than I am bouncing Kerbals off the ground per usual. I haven't been doing much else, and I have been avoiding going anywhere near Blizzard stuff. I canceled my sub a couple days ago, actually, because I'm done with seeing how much they abuse their staff. It just... grow the fuck up and start paying people properly. Give them proper benefits. Stop being a bunch of fucking morons.
Yeah, I mean,
Anyways,
I bet you weren't expecting that kind of burn.
no, as Knox just put in chat there, they're right. They did just witness a murder. Damn. It was a moida, I tell you. It was a moida.
Let me that secret assassin who just waits at the right moment.
I was just like, I gotta
Damn.
try to push it forward. So, but I was like,
Speaking of STD,
you can totally. Speaking of anything, speaking of plant-based diets, whatever. So,
Speaking of carnivores,
yeah.
Hey.
Speaking of moving things forward, let's go ahead and move on to whatever I'm doing. I returned to work last week, and I made it to Tuesday before I exclaimed, "Jesus Christ, this is the longest week of my life, and it's only day 2."
Been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 2
I
weeks
feel
of
that.
vacation. But I'm recharged. 2 weeks of vacation has really done a lot for me as far as like pursuing my own activities and whatnot. And now I'm back in the groove of being a database support professional again. It's not so bad. Other than that, gaming related, we are about 14 to 13 streams away from having our follower emotes unlocked. So I've been trying to stream more during the week to get that done, at least counting from when we were affiliated back, I think August, is when it came through, is when I got the email and I applied for it and got it. So there's that. So I've got a whole bunch of Ping the Cat emotes that is going to be put up as soon as that's activated, and they're the good ones too. Again, I don't want to paygate anything that we do here. It's bad enough I have to have emotes as far as subs are concerned, but to be able to offer it for free also makes me happy too. So hopefully it's able to be spread around Twitch, and we can have all the ping all the time everywhere.
soon, TM.
Soon. So roughly 2 to 3 weeks, just because I have to adult and family as well. I still haven't finished the website. It's still just a landing page. I still need to do stuff with that. We have a subreddit. Not sure what we're going to do with it, but it's there. It's been there since the beginning. Yeah, no, I invited you to it. It's been so long. We just never.
I touch Reddit
Like,
once every 5 days. 5 months.
I literally went like, "Oh yeah, I have a subreddit. What can I use this for?" And I picked up one, and I was like, "Amy, check it out." And he goes, "Oh fuck, I forgot this even existed."
Right?
So, there's also the idea. I've improved the quality of the Discord. We now have a banner up. It feels more like home. There's just been a lot going on. We're push it forward. Right now, my biggest goal is to get affiliated or partnered with everything that we've got. Patreon supporters who don't want to do any of that, and start really pushing to get more money out to the Trevor Project. And that's my goals. That's what I want to do. If I'm going to do this, I'm doing this to sustain us and help out the LGBTQ community.
Yes.
So that was a long-winded version of I love you all.
Yeah.
Yo.
Love you too, guys.
With that, we've reached the end of the show, I think, unless anybody else has anything else to say.
Well, this show was definitely a riveting experience.
Absolutely. It was an hour and a
Yep.
half long. So,
We killed it tonight.
yeah. Speaking of, Nordic has sleep to go get, and you two
I have to
have
go pass out.
more videos to watch, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, about Mad Jack Churchill.
Oh, wow. I'm actually going to step away from here and take a break and get this processed and up to YouTube. And
I am going to go take a deep inspection on the back of my eyelids.
and I might be back for some more X4. I have no idea, but for right now, I need to process this podcast. So with that, everyone, thanks for stopping by. We have a Patreon.
Yes.
If you would like to have your name read off and all that other good stuff that comes with Patreon, go check it out, patreon.com, UDP Broadcast. And I'll figure a way to slap your name at the end of our podcast as a thank you for being awesome. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Knox. Good night,
Later.
Serafina. Good night, everyone.
Maybe next week I won't get murdered.
No promises.
That was fucking insane. I love that. Good job.